Astronauts to the moon.
What's up, everyone? Jaronism here. Another fun video of NASA nonsense. Got some actual cool video today, some ISS mistakes and failures, and also, if you haven't seen yet, the moonwalk, or I'm sorry, the spacewalk that NASA put out, 2 hours of GoPro video. I've got about a minute and a half is all you need to see, just to show that it's all nonsense. They're basically throwing in the towel. They don't care anymore. They're getting lazy. They're getting sloppy. So now's the time we break it open. That's something I wanted to say to like Eric Dubay and Mark Sargent and Stephen Christ and Stars Are Souls. I think we need to remember that it's hard enough for us to get up here and say what we believe and that we think that the Earth is not what we've been taught. And so it's just weird that I see you guys out there either saying each other are shills, or Eric Dubay said Mark Sargent's a shill, and it just makes no sense to me. I mean, there's no shill coming out saying the Earth is flat. It just makes no sense. None of us know the truth. None of us know if there's a dome. We don't know if there's another math Powerland thinks there's something on the other side. But the moral of the story is, I mean, the same government that gave us 9/11, the ones that tell everybody that a plane hit that Pentagon. I mean, look at that picture. No plane hit that Pentagon, and yet 80% of this country will swear up and down that it did. Logic, right? But I think it's just important that we focus on NASA. They are the clear culprit behind this all, and I got some stuff today I'll show you about that. They're basically Satan worshipers who think they rule the earth and told us all a lie, and everybody bought it, including me. And now that we're realizing the truth, we have to take care of them. So I think if we join together, we're going to get a lot more done than if we point out each other's flaws, because none of us know. And the point of us doing this is just to get people to open their eyes and pay attention, not for personal gain or to say, hey, look at me, I've got the new theory that's right, because none of us do. So the truth passes through 3 stages. It's ridiculed, then it's opposed violently, and then it's accepted. And we're at that point now where you get the people violently opposing it. I mean, I was at the Flat Earth Society forum yesterday, and one of the funniest things I've ever seen, I have like 16 posts there, and there's guys arguing with me, round earthers, or RETs as they're called, I guess, and they have 5,000 posts. I mean, it's just hilarious. Who has 5,000 posts on a flat earth forum that believes that the earth is a globe? It's just hilarious. They obviously don't believe it, or they're paid. It's just hilarious. But definitely NASA's getting sloppy. One of the things I wanted to kind of point out is I also want to gear my videos towards a certain group, because I've realized that the others are not even worth talking to. Those who think we went to the moon, for instance, if you still think we went to the moon, you're lost. Look at the evidence, it's clear. So anyway, if you look at this chart here, basically the people on the left are the ones that know the flat earth, know that it's flat, know what they see in front of them, know that the facts don't add up. And then next to that is like the Christians out there. I think they're a good group to get on board, because they're at least open to the idea that, hey, maybe we were fooled by this satanic loving group. And your everyday parents, your everyday family that maybe just doesn't care, probably wouldn't be too surprised if they found out the truth. But after that, you get into the people that we just have no chance. They think I wear a tinfoil hat, which is fine. I mean, they all say I'm smoking crack and I'm carrying it in my right hand, and they're completely off base. I keep it in my back pocket. And then the other 2 groups are basically, you have your Richard Dawkins there and the Amazing Atheist. These guys, you're just not going to get through to them. The keyboard warriors, the guys screaming and yelling from their computer about how dumb we are, when these guys are clueless. I mean, the things that they come up with for evidence, as I mentioned, the Flat Earth Forum, somebody was actually coming at me with the fact that up and down are a human creation, and gravity is a constant. And go look at gravity on Wikipedia and look at the section called Other Theories. Now go look at up and down. Are there other theories of up and down? Or is up and down a human constant? It's like they're just backwards thinking. They have no idea what they're talking about. Up and down is not a human construct. There's up and there's down. Gravity is a theory that has never been proven. It is an idea that somebody came up with so that they could make the earth round. And that's all it is. It's just crazy that they call logic. They love to throw that word in our face. Logic! And then they'll go through their story of evolution that starts with the Big Bang from a hot, dense, tiny point the size of a grain of sand in, not even in space, in nothingness. Came from nothing, but they have a hard time believing anything else. So it's insane. So these are the people that I just can't reach. The intellectuals, these worshippers of science. That's what they are. It's a religion. It's a religion with dogma, just like everything else. They have their rites and their rituals and their holy texts. They have Wikipedia, and they've got Rational Wiki to send me to, and they link me to these articles from NASA telling me that, see, right here it says that NASA went to the moon. It's like, thanks a lot. I really thought that I was going to get to NASA, and NASA was going to say they didn't go to the moon. It's like, geniuses, why don't you use your own eyes, use your own brain to look at the evidence that we have and make a decision. We did not go to the moon in 1969. It's probably the easiest thing in the world to figure out on your own. Yet, again, 80% of the United States thinks that we went because they're so proud of the United States and the biggest moment in humankind's history. And if it were the biggest moment in humankind's history, don't you think they would have done a little better job of storing the tapes? I mean, the other day I thought that I was thinking they had to have more than 1 or 2 or 5 tapes. So I went looking that up, and I wanted to see how many tapes did they actually lose. They lost 700 boxes of tapes of the moon landing. 700 boxes. That's a joke. And do you think you can find the plans and find out the flight plan and see what happened on Apollo 11? Nope, that was lost too. All the information that we'd be able to prove that it was a hoax from is lost. And 80% of you intellectuals out there and scientists and science lovers and will all just let NASA have a pass. Doesn't matter that they worship Baphomet. Doesn't matter that they kill people, cover it up, that they kill Gus Grissom just because he made a comment about their ship being a lemon. They will do whatever they want. They don't care. And it's just a joke. The whole organization is a joke. And now their new up-and-coming junior star in SpaceX is an equal joke. I don't know if you've watched any videos with Elon Musk. That guy's a joke. I mean, he talks worse than I do. And I'm not saying I'm smart by any stretch, but then again, he is. And people are saying that he's smart. And he has a vocabulary of 36 words. There's a video of him giving a tour of the SpaceX facilities. It is hilarious. He seriously can't say any other words besides nozzle and qualification testing. And he actually says that his company is very chemistry and science centric, was one of his ways of describing it. Thermal vacuum and the computer that will successfully get us to space. And there's very many sizes and shapes of different engines, and it's kind of like a big car engine, and it's insane. If you watch it, you will die laughing. The guy is really just they must have forgot to teach him how to talk at shill class, because he's just out of his mind. And those rockets are not going to space. It's the same camera that NASA uses that shows a rocket ship flying with absolutely no vibration. Like, we can just ship rockets to space and the camera won't move at all. Yep, it's all about logic. You see right here, there's a little quote from Richard Dawkins, one of my best friends, who says in his book, The Blind Watchmaker, for Darwin, any evolution that had to be helped over the humps by God was no evolution at all. It made a nonsense of the central point of evolution. Now, the funny thing about that is he just said that the central point of evolution was to make sure that there was no God. So, I mean, if that's how your science starts, then you're doomed from the beginning. So I get it from both ends, because I'm certainly not an atheist, and I would even say I'm not a theist. And the reason for that is simply because I don't see how anybody believes that the Bible is divine. Simply put, am I saying that there's no truth in there? Absolutely not. I think that the book has some truth in there. But do I think that humans have kept that text perfect for 2,000 years or for longer than that? Absolutely not. You can find easy proof that it's been changed numerous times. Jesus didn't like black people in 1970. These are things that they can just change when they want, and it leads me to know that there is no way that a God, if he existed, would leave his word with humans who are fallible. And I would never worship a God that punishes people for being inherently sinful by nature. It's just not somebody I'm interested in worshiping. And I still want to promote truth. We can talk about those things, but people like J. Henning Calogia, who is a Christian, blocks me because I say I don't believe in the Bible. So, yeah, way to preach and try and maybe turn me over to your theories, or let's talk about it so I can explain why I don't believe in it. No, just block me from your channel because I don't believe in the zombie Jesus like you do. So, anyway, moving on. I brought up this picture real quick just so you guys can see. If you count the amount of little sections here, we've got 8 sections of 4, 32, plus the middle 33, that's the UN flag. This is just tying everything together. You've got 33 here with the UN flag. You've got all the 33s in the Freemasonic world. Then you add NASA to the fact that it's all the same organization, and I'll show that in a bit. I put this picture up just because I still get people saying, well, you're going to fly off the edge, and I've flown around the world. That's how I know that the world is a globe. It's like, no, did you know you can fly around the world when it's flat like this? Oh, but it's a globe because, well, what would hold the water from falling off the side? And that's what I get mostly. So I still know people have never even thought about the idea of a flat Earth yet. And so that's what I'm trying to bring up. This picture here is basically of the ice wall that is on most of the edge of Antarctica, which could easily cover the outside edges, keeping the water inside the Earth area. If you want to look up something interesting, look up Operation Fishbowl, 1950s. The United States was launching nuclear weapons into space. Why would they be doing that? They were either trying to get past some sort of ceiling or dome, or trying to kill us all. Who knows why you would ever launch nuclear weapons up into space, but they were doing it. Look it up, Operation Fishbowl. These are all things that lead you to believe that we're not a globe. You don't do that if you're a globe. You do it when you're trying to get out of whatever you're in. That's why they did it. This next picture is pretty easy to see. This is the United States, which, believe it or not, was founded not by Christians, but by Freemasons. And there's tons of pictures and paintings of George Washington wearing his cute little loincloth, little apron. And they do all their little rituals. Look at the way the president is sworn in, with the exact same configuration as Baphomet in this picture, with the exact same configuration as George Washington in this picture. Do some research there. Just look up NASA and the Freemasons. Look up the Freemasons in the United States and the Freemasons and the Founding Fathers. You'll be stuck for days. It couldn't be more clear, and they don't even try and hide it, which is what I'm going to show later. They don't care. They just know that 90%, 80% of the world worships NASA and worships the Founding Fathers, and this is clear that they all had other ideas, other plans, and they're all kind of coming to fruition right now, so it's a time to pay attention. This next picture is basically showing you the tie-in with the Freemasons and Baphomet, and look at all the original astronauts that were Freemasons. And they have this coin that says, our flag's on the moon. Supposedly, they took the Freemasonic flag to the moon for Apollo 11. Obviously, we know that means they took it to a movie set in Nevada, but still, they made the Freemasons believe that their flag was on the moon. And this picture just shows that clearly. And also, if you look up next to Mr. Kenneth Kleinecht, or however you said his name, see a little symbol on the top of his hat? Go look at the International Space Station and tell me if it reminds you of anything. It is the exact symbol of Baphomet. Same thing. It's everywhere. They don't care. They wear it on their hats. They wear it on their shirts. They all wear the Masonic ring. Look at Buzz Aldrin wearing the ring. It's a joke. It really is just disgusting. They worship Satan out in the open for whatever reason. Who knows? But it's true. And all these scientists and these atheists love NASA. Do they not realize the fact that they're worshiping a devil? If you're so into nothing, everything's natural and nothing is religious and nothing is spiritual, that's all fake stuff because NASA only worries about science and testing and scientific method and blah, blah, blah. It's not true. Go look at NASA. They obviously believe in something else, but no, you guys will still bow down to them, bow down to your kings and your priestess and your priests and your holy orders of NASA. It's crazy. It's insane. And if you look here, I have the Mason symbol, and look to the next picture there, you'll see easily it is the Jewish star. And if you look down below, it can be converted easily into the pentagram. It can't be more obvious what's going on in this world. And again, everybody's asleep to the fact that what's going on. If you look here, basically just says people hate the truth. Luckily, truth doesn't give a shit because everyone wants to fight what is right in front of their eyes. They all want to repeat what science says and not what their eyes see. They want to say what science books say and not what their brain sees. It's like, wake up. Wake up to the fact that you've been fooled, we've been fooled, and we're smart enough to get out of it and to, change the world going forward so our kids don't have to learn this bullshit. And instead, if you just sit there and, we're NASA, look at the globe. Oh, the pretty globe, look at it turn. We go 1,000 miles per hour in a circle. That kind of nonsense needs to end. So I did come up with a little plan here for listen, ignore, research, challenge, cry, and then realize you're better. Because you need to first listen to what everyone's telling you from all these guys talking flat earth. Just listen to it. Number 2, ignore the comments down below that say how much of an idiot we are or how big of imbeciles we are, because believe me, those guys don't know anything. Intellectual does not mean that you are able to call Christians idiots on YouTube comments. That doesn't mean you're an intellectual. It means you're an ex-Christian who now has some insecurities about yourself and goes around to forums and yells at Christians so you can feel like you're cool and you're smart, and you're not. And number 3 is research. Do your own research. Don't listen to anything we say and just take it. Go look it up. Find it out. I always hear people, if one more person comes to me and says, oh, but when I'm on a plane, I can see the curve of the earth. No, you can't. You're lying. You're just saying that. Or they'll tell you about the hole. Why do we see the ship go down before the hole? We don't. That's not true. You're just saying what they've taught you to say. Your little handlers, your NASA that you worship. It's like you're reading from the divine book of the Lord is what you're doing. And it's nonsense. It's not real life. It's not what we actually see. You can't just say that the earth is round, or the earth is a globe, because of gravity. That is not an acceptable explanation to me. If I say, well, am I standing upright and the person in Australia is not? Well, to each person, they're standing upright. That's stupid. That doesn't make any sense. If I call that person and say, hey, are you standing upright right now? Or is the blood rushing to your head? No, I'm standing upright. Well, so am I. Well, the earth is flat. How much more evidence do we need before everybody wakes up and stops saying, well, gravity holds us all and is all pushing us all to the ground and we all don't know what side is up because that's a human construct, but gravity's been here forever. It's nonsense. We can't even test gravity on Mars. We can't even test gravity on any other planets, the sun. We can't test that stuff. It's all just guesses, and you guys are worshiping it like it's the Word of God. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely insane. Next thing is challenge. You have to challenge the status quo. Challenge what the book says. Challenge gravity. Challenge relativity. It's a joke. Look up Tesla. Tesla, who's the greatest electromagnetic engineer ever, said that relativity was a joke, that it doesn't work and it doesn't describe the motions of the planets that we see with our eyes. So these are things that were just swept under the rug. Why do you think you never heard of Tesla in school? Why do you think that they built up Einstein to be this great holy god for you? It's because they need his theory. They need relativity. Otherwise, their whole thing is shot to hell. So they need to have reference frames, and well, it depends where you're standing and who you're looking at and where you're looking at it from. It's nonsense. It's not real life. It's not what we see. The next thing is cry. It's going to come. It's going to hit you pretty soon. What's happened, what they've lied about, and what the truth is. So you're going to have to cry for a day or two. And then number 6 is realize you're better. Realize that you're better than just taking this and laying down and allowing them to walk all over you and teach you something that's completely false and allow you to go through your life without ever standing up for yourself and saying, hold on, bullshit. Then you can get to the point where you put NASA on the hot seat. And NASA says the world is a globe, survey says. And NASA says that the stars are light years away, survey says. NASA says there's a rover on Mars, survey says. Elon Musk says it will be on Mars by the year 2017, survey says. NASA has made good use of the $1 trillion it's stolen from American taxpayers since Apollo missions, survey says. Hopefully you get the point. Proof's in the pudding. Let's look at some of the patches. This one here, dedication to Pan, which is a satanic god. This one's got the snakes. This one here says, if I tell you, then I gotta kill you. This one here says something that's better to know the devil or than not to know him, something. That one right there, clear Illuminati symbology. We got dragons in space clutching the earth, and it's just a disaster that they put these out and nobody does anything. Look at these 4 pictures. Do you think NASA sees themselves possibly as wizards who perform magic tricks outside of the Earth and have control over the entire globe? It's pretty obvious. Now we get to the good stuff. You'll see the headline here: NASA surrenders, intellectuals cry, and science takes its ball and goes home. Really, I wanted to also point out a few things that people have explained to me as reasons why we did go to the moon. Like a guy told me the other day, "You calling my grandpa a liar?" I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "My grandpa worked on the Saturn V." I said, "Oh, okay." I said, "If I told you that I went to Hawaii in my Ford Focus from California, would you believe me?" Of course not, right? What if I told you that my uncle had worked on carburetors for Ford? Is that proof? I mean, these guys are clueless. They don't understand how the whole compartmentalized thing works. I have no doubt that your grandfather worked on the Saturn V, but I will guarantee and bet my right nut that he never went to the moon. So some of these claims that these guys make are outrageous, and the excuses they make, and it's all nonsense. The picture I showed from my last video, if you saw it, of the man that was outside the spaceship, outside of Apollo 11, somebody actually argued that by saying, "Okay, so what? So there was an astronaut outside the window. Big deal." Like oh, you're right. Good point. I didn't even think about that. Astronaut outside the window. The fourth man on Apollo 11. You're right. They went to the moon. So still, the clearest bit of evidence to me is that they've never taken any kind of pan camera shot from space, 360 degrees, or at least shown, hey, I'm on the moon, there's the Earth, or I'm on the space station, here's what's behind us, here's what's on all sides of us, there's the sun, there's Mars, nothing like that. And a guy told me in a forum yesterday, "Dude, you can watch the ISS 24 hours a day, it's always on." It's like these guys are just making things up. That tells me he's never been there. I said, it goes dead every 45 minutes when they're on the dark side of the Earth. I go there to show them, and right when I get there, please stand by. The high-definition Earth viewing experiment is either switching cameras or we're experiencing a temporary loss of signal. Now, I'll show you in a few minutes a video I caught from the ISS when I went there to watch it. It is hilarious. There's about hours worth of footage where they do nothing but fly over water. I wonder why, because water's pretty easy to fake and the land is kind of tough. Okay, so if you didn't get a chance to see it, this is the spacewalk from the other day. Now watch over here in the upper right hand corner. See that black back there? See how it clearly moves with the Earth? There's also another problem right now. If you look at this screen that's in front of us, what's missing? How about the fact that the Earth is not moving or spinning, and the fact that the space station is not flying? I mean, do we need anything more than that? Mr. 17,000 miles per hour around the Earth, it's standing still when they do their spacewalk. Why? Because it's too much for them to fake. They can't spin the Earth and have people outside and do everything else they need to do, so they just screw it. Let's stop the Earth from spinning. Let's stop the ISS from flying. Let's put people out there with GoPro cameras, and everyone will eat it up like it's pudding. It's ridiculous. Here comes another video, same thing. I mean, this is the kind of footage that they can put out. It's just lazy. I mean, I could do a better job if I had a day to make a video. I could make a better video of me in space. At least I would have the Earth turning and the space shuttle flying. Look again at this upper right hand corner. You can see again that this back part of black is see it? That is not the Earth moving. That is a backdrop that is used to create a curve in the Earth. See how that's all moving together? See the bend here in the solar panels? Solar panels don't bend, those are straight. So that means that and why do you think the bend exactly matches the bend of the Earth? It's because it's the camera, it's the fisheye lens. Yeah, this is real. Yep, floating right there in space, all that expensive equipment. We have no worries. We dance around, we take pictures, and show the Earth. And look at this curve. That's absolutely not real. So you can see what kind of a joke this is if you just spend the time and use your mind and not just allow yourself to say, "That's NASA, it's true." Use your mind and say, "That's NASA, is this true?" And if the answer is yes, then go take a nap. You've probably been up for too many days. Now here is the funniest thing you've ever seen. This is, and you can clearly see that I'm watching the ISS here. You can see up here it says "is live." And we're over water, but it was kind of giving me some freezing screens. So I said, well, let me go to these former views here. So I click on this one here, and let's see what we got. We're over some water. 17,000 miles per hour. Look how fast we're moving across the Earth. We got clouds that don't move, and we've just got nothing but water as far as the eye can see. So I said, okay, let's try the next one. So we'll go to the next video, which was 3 hours prior to that. And what do we get? Oh, look at that. Water. So I started thinking, okay, now I'm going to go as far as I can until I get to see some land. That was my goal. As I'm tired of seeing this, so I waited a little bit, as you can see. See if there's going to be any land come over this horizon here or anything. Nothing. We'll go to the next video. What do we get? Take a guess. Blue screen. Yeah, they must have been on the dark side of the earth. You know how that goes. So we'll wait a little bit, see if that comes back. Nope. Because this is 24 hours a day. See this blue screen? You can watch this blue screen 24 hours a day. Go to the ISS live cam. So we'll go to the next image and see what we get. You see these go by 3 hours, so I'm skipping 3 hours at a time here. And what do we got? Oh! More water. And more clouds that don't move, and more nonsense, and more bullshit. Make sure you always put this big crane in the way of the image so that I think that you're doing something scientific, not stealing my money. And we'll search for another video here in a second. I'll give you one guess to what you think we might see. Bring that up, and what do we get? Give us something good. Ah! Water. Water and fake clouds. This is nothing but a model, a big model Earth, and they fly their little camera over it, and everyone thinks that they're doing scientific things, when really, we probably can't even go to space. They're probably no higher than a plane taking pictures of the Earth, and this is just their little nonsense view. Let's see what we get at this time. Oh, blue screen. So if you don't see this and start thinking to yourself, something is awful fishy, I don't think NASA does what they say they do. They're liars, they're cheaters, they're thieves, they're murderers. Then you just don't have a mind, you don't have a brain. Oh, there's more water. Do you really think you live on this globe? Is this really where you think you live? You think you live on this spinning globe in the middle of black space where sometimes you can see stars, but sometimes you can't. Just depends on whether or not they can fake the star configurations right. You see, we go to this next video. Now here it kind of got interesting. And this is all live as I was doing it. I saw a lot of these black screens, wasn't really sure what was going on here. See this? So sometimes they're on the night side of the Earth and you get the blue screen. Sometimes you'll get this black screen, which is just nonsense. There's nothing going on here. And have you ever seen the pictures when they show you all the lights from Earth? Well, notice that those are never the live view. You don't get to see the lights and the pretty dark side of the Earth in the live view. They show you that in movies. They show you that very exciting edited movies where they fast forward so that they can give the impression that they're going 17,000 miles per hour, as we just proved earlier by the fact that the Earth was sitting there and they weren't moving. You probably can't see it on your screen, maybe you can. What I do is I put my mouse on top of that little dot there, and sometimes I'll move it. If the Earth was moving towards us as they want you to believe, then that little dot, which is obviously must be a light on Earth, what else could it be if it's space? It sits there, which means nothing is happening. The Earth is not coming towards us, and the space shuttle is not, or the ISS is not flying. They just sit there at night, or it's faked. They plug in different views, different times, who knows. The one thing they don't do is go to space and fly around and do tests. And if you ever look up what tests they've done, they're growing vegetables and testing people's sleep depravity, and they're twirling a microphone and showing off their hair. That's about all they do, and you guys keep pumping money into them saying they're science. And it's not science, it's a joke, it's a hoax. You'll see here I kind of waited because I wanted to see the sunrise, which it actually does rise. But see, my mouse here is on the little dot. Now as the Earth is coming towards me, this dot cannot stay there. That is impossible. The dot needs to be moving towards me if the Earth is moving this way, which is causing the sun to rise. When would the dot not move? When the Earth is staying still and the sun is rising over the back horizon. That's the only way that would work. So I was kind of trying to show that. And I think if I remember this video correctly, here shortly it will do something funny like get really bright really quick, or I don't remember it. I was laughing too hard to pay attention to it. Now, is this really what you think the sun would look like? Think about it. The sun is 400 times as big as the moon, and this is all that we see of the light, is this little tiny sliver. I mean, it's a joke. And so slowly it's coming, And oh yeah, I remember this. Watch this. There's a cut in the earth, like somebody accidentally dragged their skateboard across it or something. And so now we get this beautiful light coming here. And this is fake as could be. Keep watching. This actually gets really good because they do something with the moon here and say, oh, where'd the light go? So now the sun came up and went down, as happens all the time. Always have the sun rise and then disappear. It's happened never. And yet NASA thinks it's okay to put in their live video feed. And you'll see here this little shine. How is the sun over here giving me this glare here? Impossible. And we're still waiting for something to happen here. Now, come on, guys, be honest. Is this reality? Is this what's really going on in space? Should we ask the survey? Survey says this must be what's happening here. As you see this huge white glare on top of the Earth. And still, if you look carefully, the Earth is not moving. This is not coming towards us. You can see different elements here. And nothing is coming towards. This thing is certainly not flying 17,000 miles an hour. Now remember, you have to also believe the Earth is traveling 66,000 miles per hour around the Sun. That's obviously seen here. Look at this view here. What is this? I mean, I want to see comments from people who believe this. Tell me how this is real. Tell me how this is a true depiction of what is seen from space. It's such a joke. It is absolutely a joke. Today I saw an article that said, scientists scan 100,000 galaxies and find no signs of intelligent life. It's like, well, they must have included this one, because there are definitely no signs of intelligent life here if people are believing that bullshit. 100,000 galaxies? We can't know if there's life on the moons of Jupiter, and we're supposed to know if there's life on 100,000 galaxies, which they say there's 100 billion stars in every galaxy, and it's so ridiculous. Now, do you see what's going on here? What is this cut in the Earth coming at us? Oh, did you see how that just flipped? That was nice. Gotta love that. And there's that cut. Nice little line I showed there. I wanted to rewind it a little bit to see what is that? Where did it come from? I mean, how did we just go with the whole Earth now is covered in snow? I don't know what that's supposed to be. Is it clouds? Is it snow? There you can see I point out the sliver in the Earth. It's like somebody cut it open with a butter knife or something. Not real. Let's just put it that way. So coming up here shortly, you're going to get to see the fantastic moon, which this is what I need somebody to explain to me. Somebody who is, I need an intellectual, of course, not some flat earth idiot. I need an intellectual to tell me how the moon dances around the screen here in a second. Because you know it all, and we went to the moon in 1969 with 1969 technology, and we sent the video right back to Earth, and then we lost the box with 700 videos in it. We lost all the flight plans, because that stuff happens to the greatest event in human history. And if you need something to watch, I recommend the Cosmonaut Cover-Up. Search that on Google, and if you ever wondered, well, why wouldn't Russia expose the United States when they found out we faked the moon race? Go watch that video, and you'll see that Russia lied about everything they did, from the first man in space to all the people they killed, some of them on purpose, and the United States knew that, and they're all in it together. It's a huge hoax. As you see there, I was skipping forward to see if we could find anything interesting, and we got the blue screen, our favorite. And I kind of just got lucky in looking at different images until I found the funniest thing of all time. More just nonsense of a sunrise. You'll see I'm just skipping ahead. More water. Oh, there we go. Watch this. This is the moon. I rewound it a little bit. Say, what is this? Now let's watch, because this gets quite hilarious. And it is actually in real speed. I'm not fast forwarding or doing anything. You'll see here where I end up on the spot where I first see the moon. Okay, right there. And I just wanted to watch it and see what it's doing. And this gets hilarious. Now where's the Earth, number one? It's missing. We just get the black screen. But we see that moon in the background. So I was just watching it, seeing, are they flying towards it? That wouldn't make any sense. How could it get bigger? The moon can't get any bigger. We're not flying towards it. The ISS is just flying over the globe, right?
It makes no sense. It doesn't fit. If it doesn't fit, you must acquit.
Inconceivable!
I mean, there's so much evidence that we have never been to the moon that it's sickening. I mean, the first thing they would have done when they got there is taken the camera and turned and shown Earth. And Earth would have been 4 times the size of the moon is in our sky. But what do they show you? They show you a picture of the Earth from in the sky that's as big as our moon is here. How does that work? If you're on the moon and the Earth is 4 times as big as the moon, then it's going to look 4 times as big in the sky. That's simple. Why is there moon prints, footprints on the moon? Is there mud there? Those guys were supposed to weigh 75 pounds. They should have been jumping 10 feet high and moving like all-star basketball players, yet they're lugging around all this equipment because they didn't weigh 75 pounds because they were in Nevada. Now here comes. This is the fun part. There goes the moon. Now, somebody explain to me what is going on.
Inconceivable!
How is the moon moving across the screen? I'm not doing anything. The button's on play. You can see the time in the lower left. Oh, little left-hand turn. And they're off. Oh, it stopped. So maybe it's going to hang out there for a little bit. Because we all know the moon moves so slowly around the Earth. It takes 20... Oh, wait a second. The moon's moving. Holy smokes. Watch out. It's going to hit us. Yeah, that's real. So honestly, I need one of you NASA groupies to tell me what is going on here. Please explain it to me. My imbecilic mind is not capable of scientific thought, I guess. So you'll need to come in and tell me what's going on, because that makes no sense. And the reason why is because it's all your dogmas, your bullshit. You're believing in NASA no matter what they say. If I say something like up is up and down is down, I've got to get the 3rd degree about it being a human construct. But then we see what we just saw, and it's past. They just let it go. It's NASA. They're doing science. They're great. They invented the microwave and Teflon and freeze-dried food, which is really important to all of our survival. And that $1 trillion really was well spent. The funniest thing has to be the people who are crying, like, please don't take my globe away. That's my baby globe. Don't take a globe away. Don't do it. Don't talk about flat Earth. That's stupid. They taught us that that's really stupid. That bugs me. And don't take our Mars rover away. Please, we have a robot on Mars that takes selfies and takes dirt samples. And we get to see cool pictures that sometimes people think they see aliens there. And don't take away our Messier pictures and our Hubble telescope pictures that show us all the pretty galaxies. And it's just really hilarious to me. This is all funny. You actually believe that this is real. Look at that picture. What is that? That's a galaxy? So these are 1 million stars like our own, or our sun like our own? It is comical that you guys believe that, and then we'll come here and make comments on my video like I'm a fool. Oh, I got to show this picture. This is my favorite of all time. Watch, get ready. We're about to take off. Oh, and all the sparks and the colors and there we go, and the panning camera from the moon. And there it goes up into space, and it's going to make a rendezvous with the orbiting LM or whatever the hell it's called. It is a joke. It is completely and 100% fabrication, and they fooled us all for so long, but now's the time that we grow up and be adults and not Disney World little children who believe in fairy tales. So this is real life, and it's time to stop letting these guys get away with pretend land where Freemasons go to the moon and go to space, and we have Voyager out 11 billion miles from the Earth and we still communicate with it, and nonsense is what it is. Total horseplay, pretend movie making Hollywood bullshit is what it is. Look here, you can see Buzz Lightyear, sorry, Buzz Aldrin, whatever, is clearly in the darkest shadow possible, yet completely illuminated due to, I don't know, explain it to me, intellectuals, because I must be a fool. There you go, he's inside the module there, yet completely lit up. Tell me how. 1972, you can see the rover here in the background. Look how clear that picture is. Tell me how. It's a joke. And if you look at this next image, you can see the map that we all grew up with. Notice that the equator is 3/4 of the way down the page, which if we were on a globe, the equator would be in the middle. There'd be no reason to have it any other place. But when you're a flat Earth, the area underneath the equator is actually much larger. So what did they have to do? Shrink it and make the top much larger, because in the north, people are cool. We're better. Here's a bullshit video that somebody sent me. Look at this video. This is a joke. This is, first of all, where are the pirates? Is this the Goonies? Or what is this boat floating in the ocean with no backdrop? You see these birds flying around like it's on the shore or something. Now watch this boat, supposedly, now they started at 11, now it's 12. And the boat is, what is it, going down stairs? Is this like that little thing that your dad used to do behind the couch when he'd step down the escalator? 12:45. And you can still see the ship there. Now, if you just think about it, they say, for me, being 6'2", the distance I can see into the horizon is about 3-4 miles. So in the time that we watched this video, from 11 to 12:45, so an hour and 45 minutes, this boat went 2 miles. So what is the boat traveling a half a mile per hour? Is that what I'm supposed to believe? I mean, this video is completely edited. It's a joke. And somebody's trying to show me that like it's some sort of proof. You can see behind you here, this is what happens. This is a very flat horizon. There is no doubt that there is no curve here. Everyone will tell you, oh, on a plane you see a curve. Oh, I've seen curves before. Yeah, on a GoPro camera, on a fisheye lens, you're going to see a curve. But you can also see the curve in everything else in the picture. It's always quite obvious what's going on. You can see there that obviously it is completely flat for as far as the eye can see. Look here. Sometimes your eyes will even play tricks on you where you'll look at it and say, now I think that looks curved. Go measure it. Save the image. Go draw a straight line in MS Paint. And it'll be a straight line. Yes, that's my little funny picture. Albert Einstein. I think that's funny. Not a genius at all. This is just a quick picture showing you, because people always ask, well, where does the sun go? I don't get it. It's called perspective. As you can see here, just like the trees get smaller, the sun gets smaller till it's out of your frame reference of view. The next image is the trade winds as shown on the globe. If you draw these out on a flat map, you'll see it makes so much sense. All the stuff at the north, which is in the middle on the flat Earth map, goes one direction. All the trade winds down the middle, the other, and then down by Antarctica, all go back the same way as the north. It's simple as could be, not like this, which shows you a zillion different directions, like that makes any sense. This is a quick experiment for you. This is my proof that the Earth is so obviously flat. You can see up here, let's pretend in the upper left that's a glass of water, and you can see that water will always be flat. And if we take that out and we say let's get it in a trough, like where pigs would eat or something, you'd see that the water would again be flat, because water never curves, we know that. Now let's take it and pretend like the middle picture is a mile's worth of water. Would that ever have a curve in it? Absolutely not. But yet if you believe in the globe Earth, you have to believe in this huge curve. You have to imagine there's people on this side and this side of the curve, but the water doesn't spill on them. It stays up in a bubble because we're a globe and because gravity. How about that word, huh? This is from a plane. You just saw that. Clearly flat horizon. Here's from another plane. See back here? Completely flat. There is no question. How about this next image? Flat. These are the pictures you need to go see. Go take a plane somewhere and tell me that you see a curve from a plane and you're lying. So how does NASA get away with all this bullshit? Well, to start, they have their GoPro cameras, and you can see in this image, they even use it in their little mission control room, so that's why the windows are bent back there. Now, am I okay to say, I can clearly see that those windows are bent. It means that the room is bent. Or am I smart enough to realize that the windows aren't bent because I don't see them bent with my eyes when I'm in that room? But what do they use to make sure all their stuff passes all the tests? Gravity. You know, that human constant that's always been here. You know, you guys worship all these guys. Copernicus, you worship him. He thought the sun was 3 million miles away. Is it 3 million or 92 million? It's going to make a difference when the person that said that we rotate the sun was off by only a smooth 89 million. But we all know, or at least those of us who have been paying attention know, that the sun is nowhere near that far. It's in the thousands and certainly not millions. That's fantasy numbers by Fantasy NASA, who needs fantasy explanations for their fantasy stars being light fantasy years away, and the fantasy globe, which makes no sense. So I'll leave you with some proof or some facts for you to double check, but here's the distance to the horizon. It's the square root times 7, then times your height, divided by 4. So if I'm 6 foot, 7 times 6 is 42, and this divided by 4 is 10.5. The square root of that is 3.24 miles, which they say is as far as I can see. This little depiction here, I drew a nice little round globe Earth, so you guys can all jerk off in the corner. Look, it's the globe, it's the globe, it's the globe. And I'm going to give you some distances to measure here. So let's pretend first that this letter A and this letter C is 2 miles. And A to D is 4 miles. And A to E is 6 miles. So even though we say that each section is a certain distance, from A to C may only be 2 miles, but from A to D is a bigger bend in the Earth. So actually it's exponentially growing as you go. So for instance, from A to E is a much larger arc than, say, from A to C. So if you look over here, I have California on the about 10 o'clock position and Hawaii at the 9 o'clock position. So California to Hawaii is 2,471 miles. When you work out the math, you figure out with the exponential growth that it is 770 miles of curvature between California and Hawaii. Does anybody see a 770 mile hump of water in between those two states? No, nobody sees that, but yet you believe it because of gravity. Great and powerful gravity. So let's look at some other examples. If you look at the people standing at F and P and Z, if these people are on the globe and they're all looking north, see if you can follow with me. Intellectuals, I know you're busy solving quadratic equations, but maybe you can come down to my level in stupid land and follow me for a second. See, the person at Z is looking north. The person at P is looking north. The person at F is looking north. How are they all looking in different directions? That only works on a globe, where if everyone on Earth stood and looked north at the same direction, everybody would be looking in a million different directions. Doesn't make sense, doesn't work. Here's me up at A, let's say, and this person down here at B. These people, no matter how you look at it, one is right side up and one is upside down. But what does your science say? No, both people are right side up because of gravity, because we're both having our feet pulled to the center. Okay, that makes no sense, but in Fantasyland, I mean, you might as well add Smurfs here, because that's where you would live if this was true. This is a cartoon where some people are upside down and some people are right side up, but in reality, they're all right side up because of your frame of reference. Well, to each one, they are right side up because up is a human invention. No, up is not a human invention. If you stand with your head up, you will not have blood rush to your head. But when you're upside down, because your head is down, you'll have blood rush to your head. So, in this case, no blood rushes anywhere for the person on A or B because we're on a flat Earth. Should make a lot of sense. And if you wanted to figure out this equation yourself, it is 8 times the square root of the distance. So if it's 2 miles, like A to C, it would be 8 times 2 times 2. Or if you wanted to figure out California to Hawaii, it would be 8 times the distance times the distance. So 82471 times 2471. That's how you get that. This picture here is from a wonderful science site that talks about the Concorde, and it says it flies so high you can see the curvature of the Earth. Now look at this picture. Now this picture is of Felix Baumgartner at 127,000 feet, completely flat. Now that picture of the Concorde was 11 miles up. Do the math quickly and you come out to about what, 60, 65,000? So half the distance that he was, and there's that huge curve. Isn't that interesting? Imagine that, huh? So we're going to look at a couple quick Wikipedia articles because I think they're hilarious. Okay, so I'm going to finish up with a couple Wikipedia articles because they are hilarious. Let's say I'm going to go and I'm going to debunk this whole flat earth thing. So I go and I look up spherical earth on Wikipedia. This is where I would go, where all the intellectuals are, where all the truth is. And it says the concept of a spherical earth dates back to ancient Greek philosophy from around the 6th century BC. Oh, okay, so it's a very ancient belief. But remained a matter of philosophical speculation until the 3rd century BC, when the Hellenistic astronomy established the spherical shape of the earth as a physical given. Now it's a physical given, okay. The paradigm was gradually adopted throughout the Old World during late antiquity and Middle Ages. A practical demonstration of the Earth's sphericity was achieved by Ferdinand Magellan and Juan Sebastian Elonco's expedition of circumnavigation. That's their reason when you can circumnavigate on the flat Earth. Let's keep going. The concept of a spherical Earth displaced earlier beliefs in flat Earth. In early Mesopotamian mythology, the world was portrayed as a flat disk floating in the ocean, which it is, and surrounded by a spherical sky, which it is. And this forms the premise for the early world maps, like that of Anaximander and Hecataeus, and other speculations of the shape of the Earth include a 7-layered ziggurat or cosmic mountain. See how they threw that in there to make the flat Earth look like a joke? Now it's a 7-layered ziggurat or cosmic mountain. Keep going down, and early Greek philosophers alluded to the spherical Earth, though with some ambiguity. Pythagoras was among those who said to have originated the idea, but this may reflect. Notice that they're not saying where he said that. Where did he admit that it was a sphere? Pythagoras was among those who said to have originated the idea, but this may reflect the ancient Greek practice of ascribing every discovery to one or another of ancient wise men. Some idea of the sphericity of the Earth seems to have been known to both the Parmenides and the Empedocles, or Empedocles, whatever, in the 5th century BC. And although the idea cannot reliably be ascribed to Pythagoras, it may nevertheless have been formulated in the Pythagorean school in the 5th century BC, although some degree. After 5th century BC, no Greek writer or repute throughout the entire world was anything but round. So you'll see they're just making shit up. And lastly, we'll look at these beautiful examples or these proofs, scientific proofs with the scientific method. For a summary of evidence for the spherical Earth, these are given in the order which approximates how they were observed historically. Number 1, when at sea, it is possible to see high mountains or elevated lights in the distance before lower lying ground and the mast of a boat before the hull. It is also possible to see further by climbing higher in the ship or when on land on high cliffs. Now, intellectuals, give me a break on this one. Is this a surprise? Like you wouldn't be able to see farther on a flat Earth because you got up on a cliff. If I'm 6'4" and a girl is 5'2", who's going to be able to see further into the distance? Does that have anything to do with the sphere Earth? No. It doesn't make any sense. And of course you're going to see something higher up from a distance than seeing something low. We don't put the lights on lighthouses at the ground because you're going to see something far away high before you see low. Simple. The sun is lower in the sky as you travel away from the tropics. Yeah, that's the truth because the sun goes around the equator. So if you're further south, then it's going to be further away from the sun. That is what we see in real life. Number 3, the length of the daylight varies more between summer and winter the further you are from the equator. Same thing on a flat Earth. The Earth throws a circular shadow on the moon during a lunar eclipse. That's explained down here where it says several of the arguments have alternative explanations by themselves. Example, the shadow thrown by a lunar eclipse could be caused by a disc-shaped Earth. Similarly, the north-south movement of the stars in the sky could also mean that they are closer to Earth. However, the arguments strengthen each together. Yeah, so add all these nonsense proofs together and they equal 0. Let's see the next one. The times reported for lunar eclipses, which are seen simultaneously, are many hours later in the east than in the west. That makes no sense. One side, it's hours different because it's further away from the other. That's the same thing on a flat earth. When you travel far south to Ethiopia or India, the sun throws a shadow south. Even further, like Argentina, and the shadow always is south. Yes, because the sun is at the equator. So if the sun is there, then it's going to shine a north shadow on North America and a south shadow on Argentina. This is, as you guys would say, this is a third grade geography. Number 7, it is possible to circumnavigate the world. That is, travel around the world and return where you started. Do you guys understand how flat Earth works? It's the same thing. Travelers who circumnavigate the Earth observe the gain or loss of a day relative to those who did not. That makes no sense at all. Somebody explain that to me, because I don't get it. So if I were to circumnavigate from San Francisco and I go around the Earth and I return back to San Francisco, I gained or lost a day? Explain that to me, please. An artificial satellite can circle the Earth continuously and even be geostationary. So we can put a satellite up in the sky and it stay where we put it, or it can circle the Earth in a circle. This makes every bit of sense for a flat Earth. Number 10, the Earth appears as a disk on photographs taken from space. What are they talking about? The one fake from Apollo 11 or the composite images we get now from NASA? Do you get the point here, guys? There is no proof. It isn't true. If you want to be on the right side of history, you'll wake up and realize right now that you've been duped. Get over it. Challenge it. Cry. Go in the corner and whine and complain and hit the walls because your globe Earth is a global catastrophe. It's a global hoax. I mean, what do you think the globalists are doing? They are keeping the globe myth alive, keeping us all trapped in our little houses, doing our little jobs. Let's all get on a boat. Let's go to the edge and freeze to death, probably. But anyway, let's do something. Probably take out NASA. NASA, you've been warned.
Astronauts to the moon.
And one more time for the fun of it. Survey says...